So we're Team Kumej from NMIMS Mumbai. If you read these quotes about, that's really the germ of our concept. Now these are issues. This issue is something that most people would not think is worth attention at a urban level, and that is the priority of sitting on the floor. Now that's a pan-Indian concept, and sitting on the floor that manifests itself in day-to-day life. We'll come to a little later. Next. So in an urban context, certain typology has very strict rationing of space. So furniture is either it's uneconomical or it's spatially unviable. So it forces a majority of the domestic activities to happen on the floor. So it's either cutting vegetables or studying, etc. And an extreme example of this is of construction workers and migrant laborers who never really stay at one place for long, and any patch of urban fabric actually has to become their utility space. Next. Right. Now, that very clearly says that 35 crores of Indians are below the poverty line, but very specifically, we are focusing on 3 crore and 8 lakh, 3 crore construction workers' children and 8 lakh street children. Now, the irony is that with construction workers' children, these guys actually help build what we call urban India, but they're very rarely allowed to participate in urban India itself.
Now, since children form the edifice called Future Urban India, we propose to strengthen this foundation. Irrespective of schools or NGOs, certain problems exist, such as space constraints. In peri-urban and underdeveloped areas, we have to cater to a large number of children, but they don't have the space for it. Infrastructure in terms of structure for a footpath school or a street school is non-existent. Teaching is thus conducted outdoors, where they sit on the unpaved ground. Thus, they have to sit on rain-soaked ground, which makes it impossible for them to study. Also, in terms of amenities, what we see is benches and tables are absent due to embezzlement of state funds, or even if they are present, they are in dire need of repair. The existing furniture, what we observe, is ergonomically unsound. The posture one is forced to assume when sitting on the floor induces pain in the lower back areas. Also, the child is forced to stoop over, and that again induces pain. Or if the bags are kept on the lap to substitute as tables, it induces pain on the legs.
Now, according to the British Society of Physiotherapists, sitting on a chair for long periods can actually cause long-term injury. So, as mentioned before, benches and chairs are a luxury in many, if not most places. So, what we propose is a Kumej, which is a kursi or a chair plus a mage or a table. So, that's a Kumej. It's a device that combines the advantages of sitting on the floor while simultaneously removing the disadvantages of studying in that posture. And most importantly, as this illustrates, it's about democratization of the education process. So we're dealing with something that's off the main radar, but we think it's something that's necessary. Now, Kumej went through a series of iterations, keeping in mind some fundamental concerns, which was lightness, collapsibility, portability, storage. But most importantly, the fact that we have to be able to create a work surface irrespective of where we're forced to sit on. And considering all of these, the final iteration was what we're seeing now. So Kumej is a table chair combination, but it assumes other functions to ensure it doesn't become redundant for the lower income users, because they might not think it's the highest priority. So what you saw is it actually comes in the bag phase. So they can actually carry around the migrant laborer. So when they move, they can carry around what they call the potli with them. It then deploys to the working phase, which is the actual Kumej or the table chair for the child. So the bag phase can actually be carried by the adult as well. So they are keyed into the whole process with it. And what you're seeing is she's dismantling it, she's shutting it, and now you can shove it under a bed, you can shove it behind a cupboard, because we're looking at 50 square feet of space, living area, 100 square feet of living area. Now, it takes up approximately 3 square feet when it's occupied with the child in it, and it weighs about 700 to 750 grams, so it's lighter than an iPad. And essentially what it consists of is the aluminum frame, which is light, easy, low maintenance, with a cover and cushion made of recycled tarpaulin. So the whole idea is they're actually able to replace it whenever they want to from recycled material. And the padding at the bottom is recycled foam that we bought from a shop that we didn't buy actually, they gave it to us. The table top is actually just any old tray or any old exam board. The back has potential actually for advertisements, and we've specifically embroidered it because what happens is this also gives encouragement to small-scale industries, embroidery, etc.
Now we propose to form basically a not-for-profit organization and implement the proposal in 3 phases. Phase 1 will be implemented by distributing the Kumej through NGOs specifically working with children of construction workers. NGOs would initially provide the Kumejes to the children for use only during the hours that they are functioning at the creche. It will be given away to each child as a memento only after when it is the time for them to basically leave, serving as an incentive for them to continue the learning process. Certain NGOs have basically shown a keen interest in our product, and therefore we propose that in the first 6 months, we would utilize the NSC TUI grant and provide 100 pieces of these Kumejes free of cost. So the fees would basically be utilized based on consultancy in terms of design consultancy, production facilities in terms of rent and cost of the space we use, the 100 pieces of Kumej themselves, which are going to be, whose cost will be based basically on the built prototype of rupees 400. Now, once we go on a large scale, this built prototype cost per Kumej will obviously go down to a much smaller scale of rupees 290, because we will be on a bulk rate at that time based on the figures per material. Now for the next 6 months, the NGOs who were initially supplied with the Kumejes for free and have shown a certain interest in the product would buy it at the bulk rate of rupees 290. We aim to provide Kumejes to 28 mobile creches in the city, resulting in a total supply of 1500 Kumejes, with the total budget cost for phase 1 to be rupees 4,35,000.
Moving on to phase 2. Phase 2 involves 1,50,000 street children going to footpath schools and local barbaries operated by social groups in SRA schemes. Like phase 1, children could also receive a Kumej at the end of their experience at school. It will involve funding from angel investors, private corporates, venture capitalists and others under their social responsibility schemes in order to provide Kumej to street children for free. Phase 3 rolls on a fact that phase 1 has psychologically associated Kumej with urbanization. It involves distribution of Kumej to peri-urban and rural areas on outskirts of metropolitan areas by attaching it to existing government schemes like NREGA, Rajiv Gandhi National Creche Program. Kumej is proposed as an aspirational mark of change in urban living. It will be provided as an incentive to register under government programs such as Aadhaar to families with school-going children. This scheme will provide children with a statement of pride, influencing their stay in and attending school. These are our 3 phases in a nutshell, where the idea was to link Kumej with urban living and also in urbanization in the minds of peri-urban residents. This map illustrates our approach clearly. Moving on to run 1 of 100 test pieces in pink. Phase 1, which will progress towards the mobile creches in blue. Phase 2 of moving towards the street children in green. And then moving on the outskirts of the metropolitan in yellow, like Palghar, Bhiwandi, etc. We now present a video of one of our field tests at an active mobile creche center at Andheri East, Mumbai.